The morning at the Lorraine studio should have been light and pleasant, the kind of easy broadcast that fit comfortably into viewers' routines, something warm to sip coffee to before rushing out the door. Producers buzzed around the brightly lit set, adjusting microphones, resetting cue cards, and whispering last-minute instructions into each other's ears. Everything felt rehearsed, familiar, controlled. But beneath the usual bustle, there was a quiet tension, one that nobody wanted to acknowledge. Julie Walters was in the building, and everyone knew that Julie did not suffer foolishness, provocation, or manufactured drama. She had no filter, no patience for nonsense, and absolutely no tolerance for being blindsided. Which meant Lorraine had to be careful. But Lorraine Kelly was not in a careful mood. Julie stepped into the wings of the studio, the lights illuminating her silver hair and soft smile. She wore a simple navy blouse and black trousers, comfortable yet elegant in the way only she could pull off. She greeted everyone, as she always did, with warmth. "Morning, darling," she said to the floor manager, squeezing his arm. "Don't worry, I'm not going to cause trouble." A joke, thrown lightly, but with that unmistakable Julie edge. She might not plan trouble, but she certainly wouldn't run from it. A production assistant handed her a cup of mint tea. "2 minutes, Ms. Walters." "Julie, love, nobody calls me Ms. Walters unless they're firing me," she quipped, earning a nervous laugh. She took a slow breath, focusing, calming herself. She had come here to talk about her memoir, a deeply personal book filled with stories about aging, illness, survival, humor, joy, and the limitless capacity of ordinary life to surprise. It mattered to her, she was proud of it, and she was determined to keep the conversation meaningful, not sensational. But when she looked across the set, she saw Lorraine flipping furiously through her cue cards, her face tightened in a way that set off an immediate internal alarm. Lorraine loved a good poke, a little provocation, a glossy feathered controversy dressed as honest conversation. And when Lorraine got that look, chin lifted, smile sharpened, Julie knew she was being prepared like a lamb for a roast. "Please welcome the iconic Julie Walters." The applause was warm and genuine. Julie stepped out with her signature energy, waving, laughing, making a playful face at someone in the front row. She sat down opposite Lorraine, crossing her legs and settling comfortably, unaware that Lorraine was already primed for confrontation. "There she is," Lorraine exclaimed, "looking absolutely fabulous this morning." "And I feel fabulous, so that's handy," Julie replied, earning laughter. "And you've got a new book out. A big, beautiful memoir. We'll talk about that in a moment." Lorraine folded her cards with a little too much enthusiasm. "But first," Julie's smile tightened ever so slightly. "But first was never good." Lorraine leaned forward. "I want to jump right into something people have been whispering about. There were reports last year, quite a few, that you were, well, difficult on the set of your last film." Julie blinked. Then she let out a small, incredulous puff of laughter. "Difficult, Lorraine, dear, I'd just had cancer treatment. My bones were aching, my hair was falling out. Everything I did, including breathing, was difficult." The audience chuckled, appreciating her dry humor. Lorraine did not. "Yes, but some crew members said it wasn't just that." Julie tilted her head. "Did these crew members have names? Faces? Or were they the invisible kind that only speak to tabloids?" A few people in the audience laughed. Lorraine did not. Her posture sharpened. "Well, anonymous or not, the rumors were very loud." "That's because nonsense tends to be loud," Julie replied gently, but pointedly. The audience murmured. A spark flared in Lorraine's eyes. She was losing the upper hand, and she felt it. "Some say," Lorraine continued, voice gaining an edge, "that you refused certain scenes because you didn't like your lines." Julie froze. The temperature in the room dropped. "Lorraine," she said slowly, "I didn't refuse scenes. I negotiated. There's a difference. Actors do it all the time. It's called collaboration." "But was it collaboration," Lorraine pressed, "or control?" The studio exhaled a collective gasp. Julie stared at Lorraine, the warmth slipping from her expression like sunlight slipping behind a cloud. "You tell me, do I look like a tyrant? Do I give off a scent of tyranny?" She leaned in, eyes glittering. "I wore slippers in a wig that kept sliding off my scalp. I promise you, I was in no state to terrorize anyone." The laughter this time was louder, more supportive. Lorraine's smile faltered. All right, Lorraine said briskly. "Let's move on. Another thing. You've made comments about pay disparity in the past, very big comments. Some people say you exaggerated." Julie raised her eyebrows. "Who?" Name them. Lorraine hesitated. Well, people online. Oh yes, Julie said, her voice rising theatrically. The faceless scholars of the comment section. Deep thinkers. Experts in everything. The audience roared. Lorraine did not laugh. Her smile thinned. Then let's talk about something else. You've stepped back from acting. Some fans say it's because you're afraid of aging on camera. Julie's eyes flashed. Not with anger. Something sharper, colder. Afraid, she repeated. Afraid of what? Wrinkles, gray hair, slowing down. I've had cancer, Lorraine. Aging is a privilege. The audience applauded, loudly. Lorraine pressed on, refusing to let the room turn against her. But don't you think stepping back is giving in? Giving in to what? Julie asked. To time, Lorraine said. To irrelevance. Julie sat back, stunned, not speechless, but simmering. And in that moment, the audience knew the interview had shifted from uncomfortable to dangerous. Lorraine was poking a lion with a pencil, and Julie Walters was not the sort to sit quietly while someone jabbed. Julie's voice dropped into a tone so level it was almost frightening. Lorraine, I stepped back because my health demanded it. Because my life demanded it. Not because I'm hiding from time or trying to cling to relevance like a piece of Velcro. The silence after Julie said, I seem very done, didn't just linger, it detonated. It spread across the studio in a slow, rippling shockwave that made producers freeze in the control booth and the audience shift uncomfortably in their seats. Lorraine's smile twitched, shrinking at the edges like paper curling near a flame. She wasn't used to losing control of her own show. And she certainly wasn't used to a guest drawing a line on live television. Her fingers curled around her cue cards as if holding them tightly might somehow restore order. We're just having a conversation, Lorraine said carefully, her voice coated with a brittle sweetness. No, we're not, Julie replied. We're performing, and only one of us read the script. Gasps erupted from the audience. A few applauded, nervously, excitedly, instinctively. Julie didn't take her eyes off Lorraine. It wasn't anger that radiated from her, it was clarity, the kind that arrives after months of fighting illness and exhaustion, the kind that strips away patience for nonsense entirely. Lorraine's cheeks flushed. The control room buzzed with frantic whispers. Cut to break, someone asked. She'll hate that, another whispered. But, this is going south. We need Lorraine's call. She's not signaling. Oh God. On set, Lorraine inhaled sharply, that practiced television inhale meant to regain dominance. Julie, love, she said with a smile that didn't touch her eyes, if you're feeling sensitive this morning. Sensitive, Julie echoed, sitting forward. Lorraine, don't call me sensitive because I won't let you poke me like a specimen in a jar. The audience erupted, this time fully cheering, unable to hold it back. Several producers immediately panicked. Applause was fuel, and Julie didn't need more fire. Lorraine tried again. You're overreacting. We ask everyone difficult questions here. It's nothing personal. It becomes personal, Julie replied calmly, when you imply I'm irrelevant. When you suggest my stepping back was weakness. When you twist my illness into a headline. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Steel doesn't shout. Lorraine leaned in, dropping her smile entirely. You agreed to be here, Julie. You agreed to speak honestly. And I am, Julie said. But honesty isn't the same as humiliation. The audience murmured. Lorraine shot them a look. Cameras captured everything. Lorraine's voice sharpened. Well, if you're so uncomfortable, you're welcome to walk out. No one is holding you here. Julie blinked, once, slowly. Is that what you want? I want professionalism, Lorraine snapped. Julie's lips curved into a small, astonished smile. Then you should model some. The room exploded. Laughs, gasps, applause, hands flying to mouths. Lorraine's eyes widened, her face turning redder. She wasn't used to public pushback, not like this. In the control booth, chaos raged. Cut to break, she's not giving the signal. Lorraine, please, look up. This is a PR disaster. Or ratings gold, not helping. Someone step on set, we can't. Lorraine straightened her cards, the movement sharp, almost violent. All right, she said, voice trembling but controlled. We're going to move to a lighter subject, shall we? Julie folded her hands. By all means. Lorraine shuffled her cards unnecessarily, stalling, recalibrating. Let's talk about your memoir. You write a lot about finding gratitude after illness. About choosing joy. You say you've become more patient. Julie stared at her. Patience, she repeated softly, is not the same as silence. A crack of laughter rippled through the audience. Lorraine's jaw tightened. Julie, if you're going to turn everything into a confrontation, I'm not turning anything, Julie said. You steered us here. Lorraine exhaled dramatically, then dropped the filter entirely. You're being incredibly difficult right now. Julie's eyebrows rose. There it is. What? That word again. Difficult. She looked at the audience, then back at Lorraine. Why is a woman asserting herself always labeled difficult? Why is a woman defending her life, her choices, her health, treated like she's out of line? Lorraine opened her mouth but nothing came out. Julie continued, voice steady, unwavering. I've earned the right to be direct. To speak plainly. To protect my story. I didn't come here to be picked apart. Lorraine finally snapped. If you don't like it, Julie, you can leave. Silence. The kind that hums. The kind that thickens the air, makes it impossible to swallow. Julie nodded once. All right, I will. She uncrossed her legs, stood up, and smoothed her blouse. The audience sat stunned, some whispering, some filming on their phones despite producers frantically gesturing for them to stop. Julie, wait, someone from off-camera tried. But she wasn't waiting. She turned to Lorraine with a calm so absolute it felt like a seismic event. You invited me here to talk about survival, she said. You turned it into spectacle. I'm not participating. Lorraine stood too, flustered. You can't just walk off. We're live. Julie shrugged. So are my boundaries. The audience exploded. Applause, cheers, disbelief. Lorraine's eyes darted toward the cameras, panic flashing. Cut to break. Cut to break. Now. The screens behind them abruptly went to the show's bright pink logo, and the theme music blasted awkwardly loud. But the cameras were still rolling long enough to capture Julie walking off set, shoulders straight, head high, dignified in a way no host could diminish. The second the broadcast cut, chaos erupted across the studio. Julie, please, a producer jogged after her. I'm not angry, Julie said, turning briefly. I'm disappointed, and I'm done. She said it softly, kindly, but with unshakable finality. Lorraine remained on set, trembling slightly, her crew swarming her, some asking if she was okay, others berating each other for not cutting sooner. Then the network executive entered. A short, stern woman with clipped heels who walked like a verdict.